So what are your views on the mafia?
Well, obviously they're not very positive. It's when you are born in Sicily and you grew up there, you grew up with knowing it's there, even though you have never seen it, you never know what it is really, but you just kind of know it exists and you live with it. And I think sometimes the Sicilian mentality of the mafia is in our blood without us even knowing. It's like when you know, like corruption comes at every level, and it's not necessarily has to do with mafia on a mafia level, but it's like, oh, you go to a store and you're like, oh, how about if I, you know, if you give me this, I'll give you that, you know. So like that mentality, it kind of grows into, and sometimes you don't even realize that you're doing the mafia without even realizing it.
Encounter with the mafia or have been affected?
No, never been. Well, of course, I've been affected with everything that has happened through the years. Like I remember when Falcone and Borsellino were killed, I was a little girl, and I remember like today, because like basically the world changed for us. The world changed that day. I mean, I remember where I was. It's kind of like the fall of the Twin Towers for you guys.
Okay.
You know what you remember where you were. For me it was the same thing. Like those were big events that kind of affected our lives a little bit. But personally, I've never been affected by the mafia. The only thing I can only recall is one time somebody stole my mom's car. I was little. I was maybe 6 or 8 or something like that. And I remember that my dad's like, well, sometimes in Sicily, you don't go to the police to tell them that somebody stole your car. You go to somebody that like knows people, and they might find it. And to me, that it was hard to grasp at that point. I was little. And the more, I grew up, and the more it's like, it really worked that way a long time ago, and it's kind of sad that you don't, somebody steals something, you don't go to the police, but you go to like a mafia person or whoever, to kind of ask, hey, do you know where my car is? So that's weird.
So how would you say the mafia influence has changed over time?
Oh, it definitely has changed a whole lot. I mean, from what I studied when I was in school in Italy to today, there's a lot more awareness. A lot more people talk about it. Well, before it was like taboo, nobody talked about it. And there's a lot more knowledge of it, and a lot more angry people that want to get rid of it, for sure. I mean, there's a lot of people fighting against it, while before it was like a no-no, like nobody would even try to do anything. So definitely the more we talk about it, the more people know, the better it is, because people get knowledge of it and try to in their little space even fight it.
So have you ever heard of Audio Pizza, and is it well known?
Yes, it was actually when you wrote the email, it was the first thing I thought about, because it started when I was still in Italy. There's many anti-mafia movements going on today. I was actually researching after you sent me the email. There's a ton that that started in the last 10 years while I'm here. I hear about it, but I don't live them. But Addio Pizzo started before I moved here. And it's basically a movement of people that, or commercial businesses that are saying no to pizza, which is kind of like a tax that people or businesses were imposed to pay to mafia people to get protection. So basically you pay this tax and you get protected, so nobody steals your store or gives you a hard time. It's really hard to understand once you're not in there. Like you're like, why would you pay a tax to other people? I mean, why would you do that? But in Italy, it was pretty normal for the longest time. I mean, you had a business, you pay taxes to the state, you pay taxes, which is pizza really, to the mafia. But then with the starting of Addio Pizzo, there's been many commercial businesses that are saying no to that. And they're saying, we're not paying anybody. And basically, the more businesses do this, and the stronger people get, and the weaker mafia gets. So it's just crucial, important that everybody knows about it, everybody talks about it, and all the businesses actually stick with it. Even though, sometimes you get intimidated, or it used to be a long time ago, it was a lot more often, like if you didn't pay, then they would, tell you, hey, you need to pay, otherwise you're gonna get in trouble. So, but now, the more businesses, go with addio pizzo, the less mafia can do something to you, because they're becoming weak, which is basically what we want. So
Screw the mafia.
definitely.
Like weekend.
Yeah. The more we talked about it, the more people are against mafia, the weaker mafia gets. It's just the way it is. That's why, a lot of times, when you're Sicilian and you move to the United States, the first thing people say, oh, where are you from? I'm from Sicily. The first thing they say, oh, pizza, spaghetti, mafia. So it kind of hurts at first, but then in time you realize that the more people talk about it, the better it is. So.
Answers our last question. How is the common perception of the mafia changed?
Definitely. Definitely. It's changed a whole lot, and people are a lot more not aware, but they're stronger. They're trying to fight. Well, a long time ago, it was like understood that it was there and there was nothing they can do about it. Well, now it's people are fighting, and I think the death of Paolo Borsellino and Falcone basically kind of woke the people up. They kind of shook them and say, hey, there's something you need to do here, because it's going to get worse. So I think, unfortunately, a lot of people, not just those, Falcone and Borsellino are the most famous, but there's a lot of people that unfortunately lost their lives because they were fighting against mafia. But I think every single person inspired more people to kind of, go against it, because, obviously we live better without it, obviously. So, yeah.